Hello and welcome to the Easy English Way. I am very happy you are here today. In this video, I want to talk with you about something very important for learning any language. This idea is called comprehensible input. You may have heard that phrase before. If you are learning English, you might wonder, what does that mean? And why does it matter? Today, we will answer those questions in a simple and clear way. Let me tell you a short story. Imagine you are watching a movie called Love Actually. There is a scene where a man named Jamie, played by Colin Firth, sits in a language class. He wears headphones and listens to someone speak Portuguese over and over again. In that scene, the students are practicing phrases by repeating them. You might think that this is the best way to learn a new language. For many years, teachers believed that repeating phrases was the only way to learn. They called this method the audiolingual method. But here is the secret. There is a better way. It is called comprehensible input. Today, I will explain what comprehensible input is and why it is very useful for anyone who wants to learn English. I promise that by the end of this video, you will feel more confident in your language learning journey. Many years ago, a researcher named Dr. Stephen Krashen started to study how people learn a language. He looked at many different ideas, and he came up with what is known as the input hypothesis. This idea is very simple. It says that we learn a language best when we get language that we can understand. But it must be just a little bit harder than what we already know. In other words, it is language at the level of I+1, where I is your current level, and +1 means one step above that level. Imagine you are on a staircase. You are standing on one step. The next step is a little higher than where you are now. When you step up, you learn something new. If the step is too high, you might fall. If the step is too low, you do not move at all. The idea of I+1 is like finding the right step. You need a language that is just a little more difficult than what you can already say and understand. This way, you can learn new words and new ideas without feeling lost or overwhelmed. Many teachers now believe that this idea of comprehensible input is very important. It explains why watching movies, reading simple books, or listening to easy English podcasts can help you learn quickly. Your brain works best when you understand most of the language. And when you see a few new words or phrases, your mind fills in the gaps. Over time, you learn these new words and phrases without trying too hard. So, what is comprehensible input exactly? Comprehensible input is any language that you can understand. It can be something you hear, like a conversation or a podcast. It can also be something you read, like a story or an article on the internet. The most important thing is that most of the language is clear to you. It should be easy enough to understand but still have a few new parts. These new parts challenge you to learn more. For example, if you are a beginner, you might start with simple stories or short videos. These stories use basic words that you know. There might be a few new words here and there. You can guess the meaning of these words by the pictures or the context. This is exactly what comprehensible input means. As you listen or read, your brain is absorbing the language. You are not forced to remember long lists of grammar rules or vocabulary. Instead, you learn naturally. Imagine a young child who is learning to speak. The child does not study grammar or use a textbook. Instead, the child listens to parents and friends. The child hears many words and phrases every day. Most of the language is familiar. There might be a few words that are new, but the child is able to learn them easily. This natural way of learning is what Stephen Krashen means by language acquisition. Your brain takes in language without you even noticing it. This idea works well for adults, too. When you read a book or watch a video in English, you are giving your brain a lot of language input. Even if you do not understand every single word, you will understand the overall message. Your brain will start to notice patterns. It will learn which words go together. Over time, your vocabulary grows, and you become better at speaking and writing English. It is a very natural process. There is a lot of research that supports the idea of comprehensible input. Let me share some examples with you. Many studies have shown that children who are surrounded by rich language at home and in school learn to speak better. These children hear many different words and phrases every day. As a result, they become more skilled in their own language. The same idea works for learning a second language. When you listen to or read a lot in English, you will learn new words and ideas faster. There is also an interesting study that used the book A Clockwork Orange. This book is not an easy read. It has many made-up words from a special slang. Researchers asked people to read the book without a dictionary. When the readers finished the book, they took a test. Many of them had learned new words just by reading the story. This shows that even without formal teaching, our brains can learn words from the context. It proves that comprehensible input can be very powerful. Another example comes from language classes. Many language schools now use methods that focus on input rather than drilling grammar rules. They play recordings, show videos, and use stories that are interesting. Students who learn this way often improve much faster. They do not feel the pressure of memorizing endless rules. Instead, they enjoy listening and reading, and because they enjoy it, they keep coming back for more. Researchers have also noticed that people learn better when they read books or watch shows that they enjoy. When you are interested in the topic, your brain pays more attention. You do not feel bored or tired. That is why it is important to choose English content that you find exciting and fun. Whether it is a mystery novel, a funny movie, or a sports podcast, what matters is that you understand most of it and that you are curious to learn more. Now, I want to talk about something very important. It is not enough to just have input that you understand. The input must be compelling. This means that it must be interesting and fun for you. Imagine you have a cup of tea. If the tea is warm and has a nice taste, you will want to drink more. But if the tea is too bitter, you will stop. In the same way, if the language you hear or read is boring, you will lose interest. When you are excited about the content, you pay more attention. Your brain works harder and you learn faster. There are many examples of this. Some people learn English by playing video games. They love the game, and they do not think about learning. They just enjoy playing, and slowly, they pick up new words and phrases. Others learn by watching movies or listening to music that they like. The key is to find something that grabs your attention. When you are interested, language learning feels like an adventure. You are not studying. You are exploring new ideas. And that makes learning natural and enjoyable. You may ask, but what about speaking and writing? I know I need to practice those too. That is a good question. Many people think that speaking a lot is the only way to learn. However, research shows that listening and reading, what we call input, are much more important. There is another idea called the comprehensible output hypothesis. Some researchers believe that when you speak or write, you learn by noticing mistakes. You then fix these mistakes and improve. While this idea has some truth, the main research still shows that input is the strongest way to learn a language. Most people spend many more hours listening and reading than speaking and writing. If you are at the beginning stage, you might not speak much. That is okay. What is most important is that you listen and read a lot. Your brain will take in the language naturally. Over time, you will start to speak and write without trying too hard. Think of it as the foundation of a building. You need a strong foundation before you add the walls and roof. So, do not worry if you do not speak perfectly at first. Focus on getting as much input as possible. Over time, your speaking and writing will improve as well. Remember, learning a language is a long journey. Every story you read and every conversation you listen to is a step on your journey. Now, I want to share some practical tips. These ideas can help you use comprehensible input in your daily life. You may be a beginner, intermediate, or advanced learner. I have some simple advice for you. If you are a beginner, start with simple materials. Look for videos and stories that use clear, basic English. Try to watch shows with subtitles in English. When you listen, focus on understanding the main ideas. Do not worry about every single word. Your goal is to build your confidence and get used to the sound of English. If you are at an intermediate level, choose content that is a little more challenging. Find podcasts or short articles that interest you. It is okay if there are a few words you do not know. Try to guess their meaning from the context. You can also keep a small notebook to write down new words and phrases. Later, you can look them up or practice them again. For advanced learners, I suggest you read books, watch movies, or listen to lectures in English. You can choose topics that are a bit outside your comfort zone. This will help you learn more advanced vocabulary and ideas. Do not be afraid to make mistakes when you speak. Remember, even native speakers make mistakes sometimes. The most important idea is to choose content that you love. If you enjoy what you read or listen to, you will keep coming back for more. Do not choose material that feels like hard work. Instead, choose content that is fun and interesting. Your learning will feel like an adventure instead of a chore. Remember, your brain learns best when you are relaxed and happy. If you ever feel frustrated or bored, take a break. Find something new that excites you. It might be a funny video, an interesting podcast, or a simple story. The more you enjoy the language, the faster you will learn. When you feel happy with your progress, you will find that speaking and writing will come easily. There is no need to stress over every grammar rule. Your language will grow naturally, like a plant that receives the right amount of sunlight and water. Each story you hear and every article you read is a small step towards fluency. I hope that today's lesson has given you a new way to look at language learning. Instead of worrying about complicated rules, focus on the simple idea of comprehensible input. Let the language flow into your mind and trust that your brain will build the skills you need over time. Thank you for watching The Easy English Way. I hope you found this video helpful and encouraging. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon to get notified when we post new lessons. Remember, the best way to learn English is to live in it every day. Enjoy your journey, and I will see you in the next video. Happy learning, and keep exploring the wonderful world of English.